The pundits are at it again, y'all. The pundits are at it again. So we have, here, let me throw this up on the screen for everybody. We have Wall Street Journal opinion piece. Hillary Clinton's 2024 election comeback. Joe Biden and Kamala Harris have become unpopular. It may be time for a change candidate. LOL at the idea that Hillary is a change candidate. She's a status quo candidate. And LOL at the idea that she's also not unpopular like Kamala and Biden. Then we have this wonderful Thomas Friedman piece. Biden Cheney 2024. Put my nutsack in a blender is my response to that. So the Thomas Friedman piece is just classic Thomas Friedman. This guy is a genius at parodying himself. I said yesterday, having him get paid to write for politics is like having Stephen Hawking's job be professional tennis player. He goes on in the piece, you're going to love this. He says, if not Biden and Liz Cheney, why not Biden and Lisa Murkowski, Kamala Harris and Mitt Romney, Stacey Abrams and Liz Cheney, or Amy Klobuchar and Liz Cheney, or any other such combination? Now, the crux of his argument is, listen, we need to maybe take a page out of the book of the wonderful democracy of Israel. Excuse you? Excuse you? You mean the apartheid state? That place? Copy there. Wonderful democracy. And look, this would never happen, right? The idea of you take this Democrat and you take this Republican and you run them together. But also, it's an admission from him. I don't really care about the policies. To this guy, it's all a game. To Thomas Friedman, it's all like a sitcom. It's all about the horse race stuff. It's all about the surface level. Thomas Friedman, tell me one thing, policy-wise, that you care deeply enough about that it overrides your commitment to optics. And the answer is he doesn't have anything. And this is pundit brain. This is exactly the same thing that leads to somebody to write Hillary 2024 is the same thing that leads Thomas Friedman to make this point. And also, there is another admission buried in here, which is what? Is there really that much difference between the two parties? The fact that he thinks this is even a consideration shows you maybe the Overton window spectrum is too far to the right and they're too much in agreement with each other. And on that front, I say, well, that's exactly right, Thomas Friedman. Because there should be a colossal difference, not just from a partisan perspective, but also from a substantive perspective. He goes on to say, an AOC can campaign for Liz Cheney. I don't even think it occurs to this guy that there are people who prioritize actual policy substance over optics and just winning. And by the way, this ticket would not win. Of course it wouldn't win. Why would it win? So Liz Cheney's voting record is arguably more Trumpy than Trump. She's not wrong when she's like, look, I'm further right. Yeah, you are further right. Look at her voting record. It's terrible. It's horrendous. So you're not going to gain any Republicans because they just view her as like, you turned on our dear leader, Donald Trump, and then you're just going to piss off your base, the base of the Democrats who actually care about important things like raising the minimum wage and ending wars and, paid medical leave. So not only is this terrible from a policy perspective, it's also horrendous from a politics perspective. I mean, for the love of God, how does this guy get paid to get him and David Brooks? It's like Tweedledee and Tweedledum, Dumb and Dumber. How do these guys get paid to give their opinion? They just have diarrhea on the page and send it out as if it's some sort of brilliant insight. I mean, these guys, holy shit. Now, let's talk a little bit again about Hillary 2024. We had this conversation previously because it was floated once before. Look, guys, buckle up. Because now this is the second or third, maybe even fourth thing that has hinted at this or just outright said it. And what that means is Hillary's team is shopping it around. Hillary's team is talking to people in media and dropping some hints. And that means she's probably going to do it. So what we might be looking at, and look, take note of the date when I'm telling you this. I'm telling you this in January of 2022. We might see a rematch between Donald Trump and Hillary Clinton in 2024. It's like the movie Groundhog Day. And you just you wake up, you live the same day over and over and over, and it's just miserable. And you know that no matter what happens, the status quo ends up winning. The corporations win, the billionaires win, the material conditions on the ground don't change. At best, you get tweaks around the edges, but the reality is it usually gets worse for working people as we march forward. I don't know if I can handle this. I mean, look, I do this for a living. I cover politics for a living. Everybody knows that. I don't know if I can handle it. I'm going to become the Joker if Hillary Clinton runs and if Donald Trump runs and we get a rematch of the 2016 election in 2024. I'm going to shove my ball sack in a waffle iron. That would be less pain than having to relive that. It really would. Because we have this problem, and it's a real problem with the base, where people are genuinely starting to feel like a better world isn't possible. We can't actually move forward in a serious way. And it's hard to argue against that when this stuff gets jammed down our throat. The entire younger generation is just waiting for a better version of politics to come along. Somebody who actually cares. Somebody who wants to give people health care, lower the cost of prescription drugs, take on money in politics and the corruption, implement direct democracy so we have more of a direct say over what happens with our country, with our money in our name. And we can't take our foot off the gas pedal. We need to keep fighting the good fight. But goddamn, when you have an establishment that's totally lined up against you in every way, shape, and form, and then you have a media that is sycophantic towards that establishment, and all they see are the personalities. Hillary Clinton's a big name. Biden and Liz Cheney are a big name. Hillary 2024? Biden Cheney 2024? Lisa Murkowski? I mean, again, the stuff that he put in this article, I mean, this is like record-breaking low IQ shit. Biden and Murkowski, Kamala Harris and Mitt Romney, oh my God, that ticket would get 12 votes total. Stacey Abrams and Liz Cheney, Klobuchar and Liz Cheney. Yeah, that's a real way to fire up the country and launch a movement. Amy Klobuchar and Liz Cheney. I'm almost jealous and envious of somebody who can be this dim. How can you be this dim? How can you follow politics for a living and cover politics for a living? And this is the stuff that you vomit out. This is the stuff that you come up with. And the other thing is, they're all about, his other main point is, not kidding, we need to do this to save democracy. This will save democracy. Yes. This will save democracy. Joe Biden, the only reason Joe Biden won the primary in 2020 is because at the very last minute, there was collusion among the Democratic establishment to stab Bernie in the back and twist the knife. He was marching his way to victory. And then when Mayor Pete and Amy Klobuchar, at the last second, dropped out because they cut deals with the Biden administration behind the scenes. They dropped out and endorsed Biden. That's the reason he won. It took that and the media all deciding at once, okay, we need to push him over Bernie. And all the smear attacks came against Bernie. Oh my God, he's like Fidel Castro. You know, he wants to make the United States Cuba or Venezuela. That's the only reason he won. So the idea that they have some sort of commitment to democracy, or Hillary Clinton has some sort of commitment to democracy. Look at what they did, the DNC did to the primary in 2016. They put their finger on the scale in every imaginable way in order to take down Bernie. And then Liz Cheney, her dad, who she agrees with on virtually everything, is a guy who ripped up the Constitution and then took a massive dump on it. This is the guy who ushered in no due process, no habeas corpus, no Fourth Amendment protection from unreasonable search and seizure. We did torture. We did illegal and offensive wars. Save democracy? These are the people who destroyed democracy. These are the people who only represent corporations and billionaires. That's what they do. But this is all they have to say. We believe in democracy, and this is the way to save democracy. Take two people who nobody likes and force them on the country with relentless propaganda. By the way, Thomas Friedman is a guy who defends all of our actions when it comes to foreign policy. Here he is yelping about democracy. 73% of the world's dictatorships are armed and funded by the United States of America. You're going to say, we care about democracy? We support democracy? What kind of a sick joke is that? Jesus Christ. Baby brains. Homeboy has baby brains. There's oatmeal in between his ears. Now, look, the Biden-Cheney thing, never going to happen. Because of partisanship more than anything else. It's not that there's not too much agreement between them. There is. But Hillary 2024 might actually happen. That might actually happen. And we're in for a long, tough road, man. We're in for a long, tough road if that's the case. Hillary versus Donald Trump 2024. Hillary versus Donald Trump 2024. Well, the bright side is at least those old 2015, 2016 videos that we made on the election, they're oldies but goodies. They're still totally relevant and on point if that ends up being what it is. I just want everybody to know there's a reason why these people are the old guard in media. There's a reason why this is the stuff that's fed to the American people on a daily basis. Americans get a steady diet of this stuff. And that does help shape the way they view politics. And a lot of people might be of the belief now that a better world isn't possible because the establishment's not looking out for them, and certainly the establishment media is not looking out for them. And we got to do our best to break the spell, and we got to do everything we can in our power to make sure none of this nonsense comes to pass. Because elite pundit brain is a disease, and we need to attempt to be the cure to that disease. Because God forbid, these opinions are the main opinions that people experience and they don't know there are other options. That's a nightmare. If you want to see me and Crystal Ball interview legends like Noam Chomsky, Cornel West, and more, subscribe to Crystal Kyle and Friends on Substack. $5 a month gets you the video version a day early. Remember, we take 0 ad dollars for this podcast. Or you can sign up on Substack for free and get the audio version a day later. Link in the video description box below.